Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. And that sound of crunching is just Rama getting to know the tax man.
Yes, he's sharpening his teeth, the taxman game.
Yes, and of course, we are jesting, but we want to thank our newest Patreon.
Indeed, we want to say a huge thank you to Miss Claudia. We appreciate your support.
Again, every video goes up on Patreon, and there are exclusives every week as well. You know, there's so much mystery and illusion in this world, and then there are things that are just simply unexplainable as well. And here I want to just show you a cute little clip of, well, you decide. It's the Miami Mall creature.
Oh my gosh, there he is.
Yeah, isn't that curious? So, another take that was maybe a foreshadowing of the Miami Mall incident, or maybe just a leaking into our reality of what's really going on. This is a scene from Odd Thomas. Odd Thomas was a very cute kind of, in a dark way, sort of. Movie that basically he has the gift, he could see into the other side. He sees into the other side all the time. So in reality, this is Cindy's life. This is Cindy's normal life. She sees things all the time. I see things occasionally that other people don't necessarily see. She can always look in and find somebody, pretty much. If we ask about how is so-and-so, she could, check out and see what that person is doing, or if that person is really no longer in this realm, or often the case with famous people, they're being blocked by professional psychics that are hired by the power structure that is. And here is a scene where he's walking into this mall. Let me see if I could drag this, because this is actually kind of climactic here. He's going to save the life of the woman he loves, and he's searching, and she had visions of her own demise, and she gives him these signs like, I hear water, there's a crowd, this and that. And as he's walking, he realizes her signs are really signs of everything that happens in the mall when she's at work, and she's just simply selling ice cream to people. Yet all the strange sounds of water that might make you think it's going to be somewhere at the beach, well, that's the mall fountain. Maybe it's at a stadium. Well, there are a whole bunch of TVs there, and people are watching the ball game, cheering. Again, when we look to our reality and we think of, what is going on when we're describing things with our senses, and maybe we've been triggered in some way. Maybe we've been stressed out. Maybe we've been, maybe we're in fight or flight. Like it seems so many people were in the Miami Mall that day, where people swear that they saw something unusual. Now, more people are coming forward saying that they saw something unusual. It makes you think it's something like this, with demons pouring in again from some portal. Now, portals are real. This is the thing to realize. When we get these dramatic visions in the movies of things like these portals opening up and demonic entities coming in, The reality is portals open up all day long, every day, all around us all the time. And then there are bigger portals that are triggered sometimes by the power structure through rituals or technology like CERN. And yeah, when we look about us with truly an open pineal gland, you will see that there are entities like this around all the time. We are never alone. Never, ever, ever alone. The only reason why so many people think we've been alone is because their senses, which could be developed and would be developed, and they would perceive them if they weren't in this system, which has fluoridated the water and, again, done so many things on so many different levels to hide this level of reality from us. It's been hidden from us. The reality is, yes, you are surrounded by demons and by angelic beings and all sorts of different beings that come and go all the time. We are walking through an ocean of consciousness every single day. So what do we feel is going on with the Miami Mall incident? Is it something? Was there something there? There's always something there. That's the thing we got to get across. There's always something there. It's just that most people cannot see what's there, and a few can. And then the ones like him will get ridiculed. They'll get locked away. Said, oh, you have schizophrenia, you have some sort of psychosis, or in days gone by, burn the witch. And again, this is just exactly what the system does. They can't hide this. They can't cover this up. Those people that have not gone along with the system, they're going to be perceiving things that have always been there. Always been there. We just have not been able to see them as far as the masses go.
Mm-hmm. It's something where something that is definitely always there. And what exactly happened? I believe what has happened is that, yes, there was a distraction that was needed in that moment. Do they have a technology that they can spread through the mall where people can see things just for a moment? Can they expand that? We can only see a little sliver of the light spectrum at any given time, but can they expand that sight in a crowd of people? Absolutely they can. And I think, is it used as a distraction for something recent that's came out? Sure, it could be, but I'm going to just keep an eye on both things. I'm not going to block one out or the other out, because I think it's significant that they are coming out. And I think this was forced technology based, and they are taking a lot of notes. And who are they? These nameless, faceless people. I think it's the top, close to the top of the food chain, CIA, FBI. They're watching people's reactions. They're monitoring people's reactions. They're taking notes. They're seeing where people are at, because there's a bigger picture here. There's something much bigger that's going on than just things at the base level.
So we have these two incidents. This one back on June 7th, 2023, alleged UFO crash in Vegas. And I'll play a little bit of this for you guys.
Investigators that several agencies believe something landed or crashed. Whether it was non-humans or not, it certainly scared the people living on this property. Now, before we show you that video, listen to their call for help.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one beside it, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In the backyard. And I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually you terrified us.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot. 9 feet, 10 foot, I don't know. They look like humans to us. Big eyes, and have big eyes, like I can't explain it. And big mouth.
And meanwhile, you could see in her mind, she's thinking, what are these kids doing? I mean, and yet, again, so many things get ridiculed. But as we share, in ages past, this would not be in the news because we saw beings coming and going all the time. All the time. This is just normal. This is just a reality. You have multiple people. This guy is saying, another person coming forward. Let's play this. This one's short.
Anyway, so as we running, we look back and we notice some weird shapes taller than me. I'm 6'2", shadowy, dark, solid shapes, not human. I promise these is not human. I mean, it made the hair stand up on my skin. And shit, we just booked it for the doors after that, man. I can't explain what that was.
And so, you have these people coming out of the woodwork.
You know what really just jumped out at me when he said the hair stood up on my skin, and I know a lot of people get spidey senses, but this kind of reinforces what I think happened, where there is some technology going through, and he felt something happen of a different nature than we're not used to. The hair, I bet you he wasn't the only one. He was just observant enough to realize it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So there's another one here. Now his story is 8 minutes and 42 seconds long, and again he's another one coming forth saying, because we did have the one that ended up recanting, but recognize if you have, it could be federal authorities showing up, it could be anybody just telling the guy, you might want to back off this story. You really don't want to keep saying that. Why don't you just say it was all a joke? Here's $10,000 and let's call it a day. It might be more than $10,000. Again, people get bribed all the time to look away. Have you ever heard of mob intimidation? I'm sure you have. When there's cases against the mob, people get intimidated, and sometimes people will come back and say, no, I said that I saw, but I didn't really see it. I was mistaken, I misspoke, or you took it out of context. I didn't really mean that. So you have people through coercion of one sort or another, either just bribery or also threats that will recant. And then you do have people that are just seeking to, maybe start a new YouTube channel and to get people in. So you have to use some discernment and feel into it, and not necessarily always using the logical left brain, because again, the facts that we are given by the power structure are facts that are put out there to come to their logical conclusion. So that should be pretty obvious too. But this is another one that said that he again saw something
with my family, and we all saw exactly what happened. Don't pay attention to a lot of the videos that are out there. I feel like a lot of people are trying to use this for clout, but what happened, we all saw what happened, and it's pretty serious. It's been a few days, but our whole family's processing it, but I think we've kind of accepted that we were a part of this weird experience and moment. So basically what happened was I was there with my brother Brian, my sister and my nephew. We were looking for shoes for my nephew, and then we see a whole crowd of people outside the store just running out in a direction. So as soon as we saw it, we were like, oh shit, what's going on? So we immediately ran out with our nephew, and we picked him up and we ran out and we followed the crowd. And then about a few seconds later, as soon as we started running, my nephew, he's autistic, so he was pointing behind us and he was saying blankie, which he will usually say whenever he feels unsafe or scared. And he was pointing behind us. So me and my brother, we look behind us, and then we see these 3, 9, 10 foot tall creatures. I'm not going to say aliens. Everyone keeps saying it's aliens. I'm not saying aliens because I don't know what it was. None of us really knew everyone. All of us stopped in our tracks. We, a whole bunch of people were pointing at it. There were other people running. There was a crowd. As soon as it made itself more apparent, it looked like it was glitching. Not like a computer pixelation, but like a wavy glitch. And whatever maybe was covering them had, unveiled or whatever. Yeah, it looked like a glitch, man. Like a weird glitch in the Matrix or whatever. And then you could see it in its full form of all three of them. And then they were all black. You saw eyes, and you could faintly see like lips. But I was about like 20 feet away, because obviously everybody gave a distance, right? And they're tall, so we all just like looked at them. They were just standing there. And the thing that was a little bit weird, well, it was clearly like observing us. It was sentient, right? Like, or whatever, I don't know. But it was aware of us. It looked at us, the whole crowd. And then as soon as it started walking with its big legs, like kind of like it started like almost glitching again, we all ran. My brother like immediately said, "Yo, let's go." He grabbed me by the shoulder. We bolted out of there. And for anyone that's like saying, where's the footage? Where's the footage? Yeah, I know. I don't have any footage, and I'll explain why. Because like when I saw it, I was in complete fear. It was something I completely froze, man. I don't care if I sound like a bitch about it. Like, I froze. And I don't care who you are. I feel like when you're seeing something paranormal, it's different than when you're seeing a fight. Yeah, you'll probably want to record that and put it on Real or whatever. When you see something paranormal, that's different. Because your reality, you can't comprehend what you're seeing. A fight, you kind of get it to pure fighting. You can comprehend that. Something like this, none of us can comprehend. Your first instinct is like, it ain't to like take out your phone and start recording. Your first instinct is like, I've never seen this before. What is this? Is it gonna hurt me or my family? That was my first number one priority. So if you don't believe me, I get it. It's fine. Like, it is silly. I'm sure that someone had footage from that night. If you did, please contact me just so that you actually have it. So anyways, as soon as the creature started moving, we all just jetted out there. We ran out the front doors, and obviously like we see a whole sea of cop cars, mad cop cars, or other ones were coming in, and we ran with our nephew, and then a cop stopped us. It took us a little to a bit of a safer area behind the cars, and they asked us what we saw, and we told them what we saw. They wrote down. And they asked everybody to check their phones. Not everybody, because there was mad people like running away too, right? They couldn't get everyone. So I'm wondering if someone's gonna post a video. But yeah, they looked through everyone's phone. I didn't record anything, so I was fine. None of us recorded anything, so we were basically free to go. But in the distance, you could still see like, I didn't see the beings coming out the door, right? But you could see on the side of the building, kind of like that clip that everyone's seeing. That it was slowly walking, and it was like it wasn't cloaking or glitching or whatever. It was walking. So I don't know if it seemed more like it was an interdimensional thing. Someone's coming into our dimension or whatever. A bunch of them, and I think that it was just interesting the police response because there was a whole bunch of them. This ain't for no teenagers. No, this is for something way bigger.
Yeah, again, massive police response. We've seen so many fights break out in different areas, and we've seen mass shootings of a massive scale, and we have not seen that type of police response. That police response was overwhelming. It just stood so far out. This is a video by Museum of Tarot. Now, he is just totally debunking it. He's trying to say, everything is just lies and illusions. And he's doing his best to totally debunk it and saying, no evidence of black helicopters in the air, no evidence of any sort of power outages. There are police recordings of interactions of things going on in the mall. Absolutely. There are voices of the police themselves describing a mall incident, and that, it's all a bunch of basically horse doo-doo. So, that's his take on it. And yet we still have all these people that feel that there's something to this incident. Now, when I'm saying that, I mean people that are just immediately, their spidey senses are tingling. Like when I saw it, I said to Cindy, okay, this is not the normal police response. The reality is, again, we do know that CERN, for us, we know CERN is absolutely all about opening portals. And coincidentally, what we've gotten from the guides, from our guides, and again, we have a regular prioritized daily spiritual practice of meditation, mantras, yoga, qigong every day, and it's been that way for a very, very long time. It's like a lifetime practice where we prioritize these things, and we do not partake of any mind-altering chemicals or substances at all, legal or otherwise. We really value our clarity, because we both have had experiences all through our lives. It's just part of who we are. And Cindy is an amazing, gifted person. Again, if the world understood her gifts, we would be in much more danger. As far as, she can do pretty much anything a Jonathan Edwards can do or Sylvia Brown can do. But we don't want to be on that big stage, because, again, that's not what our intent is for this life. And to fly under the radar, so to speak, is exactly part of what we don't try to get any bigger, because we just want to share with those that will hear us and understand exactly what the reality is. Again, I like this photo because we are walking through a sea of consciousness. It's an ocean of consciousness. It's all around us. There's never a time when there's not some being on a slightly different density within range of you. It's just the very nature of this. As yesterday, out raking leaves and cleaning up the yard, there was an unusual being that Cindy had never seen before. Felt very benevolent. That was just deciding to kind of meditate in our yard, and that's well and good. Definitely nothing like a shadow being. Now, we both seen hundreds of shadow beings. I mean, dozens and dozens of shadow beings. And in fact, I've shared with you guys in the past that for me, for a while, I belonged to a paranormal research group and helped them out. They were already in existence. They were military, and it was fun. I just did it basically for fun and to help them out, and would go through and clear areas that people needed clearing. In other words, removing the dark entities, which we can do with our intent. We don't have to call on the name of Jesus, but if it helps you when you're confident, it'll work. Because again, you can call on Krishna, Jesus, Buddha. You could call on whatever you feel rooted in, because ultimately source is in you. And most of these beings are thought forms. They don't have source spark in them. So, they are below us. And while they can look intimidating and scary, they don't have the power that we do, and the potential that we do. Because we are connected in higher densities, and we can draw down energy from those higher densities. And they have to leave, or they will literally be in danger themselves.
They are. They're pulled out. There's other things you can do besides throw them out yourselves. I mean, I love sage. Sage is my best friend. It's something that when you light the sage, and we do this between every single person, and every single time we think we might need it, it makes it very difficult for anything that does not belong to linger in the area, because it disrupts the ether. It disrupts their etheric realm, so that they are forced out. And that's why when you sage, you always want to make sure you have like an open window so all the smoke and everything can leave your home. But our intent is so very powerful, and I think they like to make things out that they're not very useful, or they're not going to do us much good. But because of our direct connection with source, we can call on that, we can pull on that, we can go within and find that, and we can utilize it in so many ways. It's definitely not widely taught. In fact, it's very it's frowned upon, and a lot of people who are very gifted have a difficult time in this life, because they're probably channeling someone or something, and they're completely not aware of it, and emotions can get the better of them, and that happens way too often. And that's why we need to have the ability to control our emotions, because they're our most powerful asset, or they can be our biggest enemy. And there's ways that we can learn to control those emotions so that we can utilize them. And for our own lives, we don't want other entities coming in and taking over your emotions and living your life that you came here to live. That's not something we want. And if there's an entity that's doing that uninvited, you definitely do not want that in your realm. You don't want it anywhere near you. But I do appreciate being able to reach people where they're at, you know, if they do have these abilities and they're confused and they're lost and they don't know what to do. It is nice to have someone to talk to and have someone to guide. But I think this has just really opened up a lot of people's understanding to the world that we live in. And now a lot more people are asking questions. And when we ask the question, you have a lot of people searching for the answer, and you have a lot of people talking. And strangely enough, as we're going through pulling up information on this today, they've made it nearly impossible. When you type in aliens for a search, they put up some really horrible stuff. I mean, that we've had to block. It's horrible.
Yeah, in Twitter, when you know you are on something, when they put in so many spam accounts because they don't want you seeing stuff there, and they want to dissuade you. And so there's and Twitter on X, all sorts of nastiness popping up when you put it in Miami Mall. The reality is you've had so many people that are part of or were part of the government, part of the FBI, CIA, all these other groups. And not just from this country, all over the world, that have come out and talked about the fact that aliens exist. And again, with our dualism that they push, they try to get you to think that everything is either or. Again, we've talked about this so many times. Well, okay, if you're not a capitalist, you must be a communist. No, again, thinking outside the box, because people will say, well, is it interdimensional beings or is this extraterrestrial beings? Again, it's all of the above. There is all of the above. There are demonic beings, absolutely. There are demonic beings that are maybe natural to this earth. So in that case, no, they wouldn't be extraterrestrial, but they would be demonic. And then again, there are demonic beings that are not natural to this earth. And again, demonic being the nature of that being. Is it something that is predatory? Is it something that is parasitic? Is it something that is opportunistic to the point that it will cause all sorts of misery for anybody in its way? Yeah, absolutely. And again, we do have extraterrestrials that will look solid as anything to us. We do have extraterrestrials that are not naturally solid to us, but understand how the universe works enough to appear solid to us by simply an act of their consciousness. They can alter their frequency, appear and disappear. And as I've shared with you guys too, in December of 2017, after starting this channel, I awoke to a 8 or 9 foot tall gray in the bedroom. And this happened literally within weeks of being approached by that group that, again, one of those groups that's in the power structure of the planet, begins with an I, ends with an I, and turning them down because they wanted to take me in and train me and make me a part of the system. This is exactly what they do with people that they'll utilize in politics and in the movies, in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, because they have so many ways that they could utilize people. And, again, what do they lead with? Oh, you will never want for anything because all your needs will be taken care of. So, this is how they try to pull people in. And they pull in many more people than you would really think. It is much, much bigger. It is a much wider spider's web, so to speak, than people realize. And I think people have been pulled in without even realize that they're pulled in. And whether it's, through the Masonic lodges, other sorts of things like the political trilateral commissions, the it goes on and on. Members of the few, and on and on. The banking cabal. It's so expansive. It's in every aspect of our life, and you have people that come out that now are giving more and more of the truth, because there's people that didn't understand just how dark this is. And at first they might feel an elation of their ego because they're being let in on some secrets. Oh, you're going to really know things that the masses don't know. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. I must be special. They will basically appeal to the ego. But then when they realize how dark it is, they can't handle this. And they're like, I don't want any more of this. And many people, that have joined the military and those alphabet soup agencies, when, they think they're going to serve their fellow humanity and protect their brothers and sisters and cousins and uncles and aunts, et cetera, neighbors. And then they realize, no, they're just simply imposing the will of a mob, a mafia, so to speak, that is running the planet. Then they'll come forward and start to talk about this, especially when they realize that at the highest level, it's non-humans suppressing humanity, treating humanity like slaves. Here you have Holloman Air Force Base UFO landing. James Fox retells the story of when Alan Sandler told Fox that he saw the famous Holloman UFO landing film with aliens walking out. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are going to come out. And again, some stuff will be contrived and not real. Other stuff will be real. It's just going back, not just going back to 65, not just going back to Roswell again, as we've been saying. This has been going on for thousands of years. For me, one of the big questions was, when did the gods leave, quote unquote? Because, there's this time period where the gods are amongst us and everybody took it literally. And I love it when I watch, historians digging into this, and they're like, it really is like these guys believed that these beings were right here. They were right here. I mean, the words they use, whether it's the original Hebrew, Aramaic, whether it's the Sanskrit, whatever, these words are saying that they believe these beings were right here. And we could see them. They were as real as you and me. Well, all of a sudden, they're not there anymore. But there's kings and queens, and there's a system in place, and it's apparently all human system. But that is because they found that humans would be more productive. They would actually get more out of humans if humans thought that humans were in control. This is part of that illusion. So they ruled behind the scenes, puppeteering kings and queens, puppeteering popes and bishops, and on and on. Meanwhile, there are, politicians again of the highest level that have come out and told the truth, there's no doubt that aliens are there. And you see all the secret societies giving us these numbers. Rockets set to release remains of 330 people, including George Washington, JFK, and the Star Trek cast into space. A permanent memorial. Yes, they're sending up Uhura. As you can see here, Ike, JFK, George Washington. Here's Nichelle Nichols, who played Uhura. Scotty's going up into space forever. Gene and Majel, Barrett Roddenberry. There's another video of him being interviewed, in which he's basically saying, Satan's been my right-hand man the whole time. Satan meaning the system, the extraterrestrial system that's in place. But ultimately, again, as we've shared, when you look at the migrant situation that we see on the planet, this is the reality. We are all migrants and immigrants coming from different planets, because this is a galactic war that we are talking about. And it's an interdimensional war. It sounds preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. But it is the reality. The reality is much more akin to Star Wars, than what we have seen and perhaps what we can accept. This is Planet X News, who I don't usually follow. We used to do a ton with sky photos and things that Mr. MBB does and Planet X News and others. We haven't focused on that, and maybe it's because in my mind I feel that we know exactly what's going on there, but maybe we haven't shared enough of it. The sun itself is a portal, and so looking at this object, as you see incredible photos of Planet X retreating from the sun. Well, I'll let Cindy talk about this.
Well, the sun is definitely a very, very, very busy place. And Mike and I got to talking about it. We were out in the yard, again, doing yard work, and Rama was laying in the middle of the yard, and Mike noticed that he was just kind of staring at the sun, just staring at the sun. And when he mentioned it to me, I said, well, that's because he can see how busy the sun is. And I guess these are things that I don't share, or I don't look, or I don't think to share. I can be very selfish in the sense of when I think, okay, so, if I can see it, everybody else must see it. Or I just don't even think to tell people. I have to work on that. But when looking at Rama and through his eyes, he could see all the different types of beings that are coming and going in and out of the sun. The sun is extremely active. It also has creator beings inside of it. It's a portal. It's where angels come and go. It's where different entities come and go. Spaceships can come and go. I mean, it's just a whirling vortice of anything and everything you could imagine coming in and out of this earth and then going to different levels thereafter. So it's not like they have to come to the 3D if they go through the sun. They can come to different levels when they go through the sun. Now, I think where hiccups occur is when CERN opens different portals from different dimensions and allows other entities in, and then we start getting reports from people we know are saying, hey, this is here, that's here, and then I look and, oh yeah, sure, CERN definitely opened a portal and let these buggers in, and now they're wreaking some havoc. So we have some of that going on too. But back to the sun, it's busy. It's like Grand Central Station. Everybody comes in and out, and it just is. So there's all kinds of beings. There's no limit to the beings that come in and out of the sun, or ships, or planets.
Yeah, so when speaking about this particular object, if people are curious, what do you pick up?
This is a planet. It's a benevolent planet. It's a nice planet. I can feel it. It has feelings. It has emotions. It's taking its beings with it. It just wants to go live. It's going to go have another adventure. It's going to go have another experience, and it knows. So we are so connected to our Earth planet. I don't think people really understand that this planet here has the same emotions as any other sentient beings. And it's like, okay, we are going here now, you guys, we're going here. And that's what is happening there. It's a very happy planet.
So this is going to be a new planet for a while. For a while in our zone. And a couple of years ago, I want to say we were in New Mexico. We had such clarity in New Mexico because we were in the middle of nowhere. Nowhere. If we turned off our router that we were getting our satellite feed from, you would have absolutely zero cell signal. There was no cell signal. There was nothing. So we had interactions and such clarity on our meditations that was amazing. We're in a little bit buzzier area now, but we're still as country as you can get in this type of growing area, which is much more easy to grow in. But at the same time, we had interactions with many different beings out there, and also in the Nevada desert too. And we had gotten that at that time there was 39 planets in our solar system, 39. So nothing like what they say. Again, there are planets that are just outside of the visible spectrum for most people, and then there are planets that are so close that they do get caught. And if a person is in a certain frame of mind and taking photos, you can affect your equipment. Your consciousness can affect your equipment, and sometimes people will get these photos. But the sun itself is a portal. Again, space is not a vacuum, as they say. It's more akin to ultra light liquid, so to speak, in between a gaseous state and a liquid state. And so life abounds in space. And again, there's not an impenetrable dome that you're just going to crash into and explode into. No, it's a permeable membrane. As above, so below. Each individual cell in the body has fluid within it, but yet it's also bathed in fluid. And it's the same thing with our atmosphere. That's the simplest explanation for it. And this information, again, is interpretation that we have gotten from the guides and what resonates with the higher self. So we wanted to share that with you guys. Yes, absolutely. And when the grid goes down, people will be flabbergasted and in awe, because your Project Bluebeam has been there the whole time. The sky is an illusion, and part of their spraying is to cover up glitches in the technology as our consciousness expands. So you're going to see celestial objects out there. When their matrix crumbles, we won't be looking at the same sky, because so much of what's been there the whole time has been covered up and hidden.
We won't be looking at anything the same. Everything is going to be different. Everything is going to change. People are going to be getting closer to Earth, and sometimes that might be a little bit difficult. But, I mean, we're expanding, and with expansion there can be a little pain with that.
And this guy knows it can be very, very hot in the African tundra. So he's got himself a little umbrella. He needs a little shade. Again, guys, stand strong. Keep your frequencies high. You don't need any sort of dogma. The dogma is all man-made. It's just what are you resonating at? Where is your heart? So if you are stuck in a very dogmatic system, but you're giving off the frequency of a saint, there you go. And, again, there's going to be revelations that are going to just stun people. But root and ground yourself with the planet, because the planet is ascending, and you will be amazed at what we're going to be going through in these days ahead.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.